My name is Sarah Dow, and I'm going to discuss the sources of funding in entrepreneurship. There are a couple of sources of funding, but first let's talk about why most people need it and why it's important. Most new ventures need funding because the challenges with cash flow, capital investment, and the lengthy product development cycle. The challenges of cash flow means that there are so many things needed to start a business, like inventory, employees, and advertising, which are all expensive and require money. Next is the capital investment, which is the equipment and location or building you'll be at. And lastly is the lengthy product development cycle, which is like the upfront cost of paying for the product, and it usually takes a while, sometimes years, so getting funding will help you maintain that stability. Why is it important to get funding? It's important to get funding for stability. If people are going to fund you, they want to know that you're serious about what you're doing and that you know what you're talking about, you know, the logistics, etc. Funders care about your knowledge of the business that you're creating and your long-term commitment goals. Now to the sources of funding. You can use your personal funds like savings, friends and family help, whether it's a loan or investment, and bootstrapping, which is using your mind to be creative and finding funds that way, which could simply just be cutting your costs on certain things. Some of these sources of equity funding are angel investors, venture capital, and the initial public offering. Angel investors would be the best and most ideal because they invest their money into your startup and without having to pay them debt. The venture capitalists invest money into your startup but are very hard to get and invest way less than the angel investors. Lastly is the initial public offering, or the IPO, and that's basically getting a startup a stock for people publicly to invest in. And that usually takes some time because you need to prove that you're going to grow and become a better company. The last types of sources of funding we're going to talk about are the debt funding. Those are the commercial banks and the SB guaranteed loans. The banks are typically not the ideal loan because they look for a lot of stability, growth, and good financing in the startup. And then the SBA guaranteed loans go through the banks to guarantee the loans, but don't actually make the loans. The private sector lenders do. With the many types of funding we've talked about, I will leave you with a quote from the founder of Y Combinator, Paul Graham. Investors are pinched between two kinds of fear. Fear of investing in the startups that frizzle and fear of missing out on startups that take off. Thank you.